Good morning, everybody. My name is Pastor Kyle, and I am a pastor here in Berrien Springs, Michigan. I'm a student at the seminary, and I'm also working at campus ministries here. It's really fun to do both of those things. But I'm really grateful to be able to spend just a couple of minutes with y'all today. Pastor Ben reached out and asked me if I would share with you. And I always love doing stuff for Pastor Ben. I don't always respond to his texts, and so he's going to shade me, but I love helping them out when I can. And today it was through getting to hang out with you guys. I wish I could be there in person with all of you right now, but COVID has kind of messed with all of that. And talking about COVID, Pastor Ben, he asked me a question, and he basically asked, what am I doing to stay close to God during COVID? And it's a hard question, because as much as we like to think that when we have enough time for God, we'll spend time with God, we don't. It's just hard. We fill our lives with other things and other distractions. And so hopefully from my thoughts today, you will be inspired and blessed. But before I share, let's have a word of prayer. Father, you're with us. You care about us, knit us together. We love you so much. And I just ask that all of the craziness in the world would end soon, and we can all be together in community again. We ask this in your name. Amen. The other day I decided I needed to get a Subway sandwich. I know you have Subway in Canada because I've eaten there. It's not as good as the States, might I add. But I decided I needed to get a sub from Subway. There's not a lot of places to eat around Andrews University. And so I pulled up to Subway. I had done a mobile order because I'm bougie like that. And as I was walking in to get my mobile order, I noticed something. There was a homeless man standing outside of the Subway, and everyone was passing him by, person after person. They weren't even looking at him or paying him any attention. And so I decided that I was going to figure out what this guy needed. What was he seeking? What was he looking for? And so I went up to him, and he looked at me and said, "Hey man, do you have $1? I just need $1 to get a sandwich. I'm hungry." And so I said, "Man, listen, I'm not even going to give you $1. I'll just buy you a whole sandwich. You want a drink, you want a cookie, you want chips. Let me wine and dine you. Let me get you whatever you want, bro. Whatever you want, you can have it." And so I brought him into Subway, and he ordered a steak sandwich, and he got a Coca-Cola and some chips, and he was happy. He was good to go. And as we got outside, he was about to disappear and leave, but I said, "Hey man, let me just hang out with you for a few seconds. Let me get to know you." And I could tell he was a little antsy. And so I started asking him more questions about himself. What was his name? Where was he from? What does he do? Where does he sleep? Is he cold? Is he always hungry? Like what's going on in this guy's life? Well, I quickly noticed something about this guy, and it's that he had something that was on his mind. And finally, when he got sick of my questions, he looked at me and said, "Hey, look, man, do you really just have $1? Because I really need to go buy a pack of cigarettes." I don't think this guy was ever actually looking for a sub sandwich. I don't think he wanted me to talk to him. I don't think he even wanted to answer my questions. I think what he really wanted was a pack of cigarettes. He was craving those cigarettes. He needed those cigarettes. And so everything else was kind of just a distraction. It was just in the way. And when he finally had enough of the conversation, he was honest and opened up. "Hey, I just need some cigarettes." Well, I didn't buy him any cigarettes. And I told him, I was like, "Look, man, like I'm not going to buy you cigarettes. I don't have $1, but I love you. And if you need anything else, I got you." And very quickly he wandered off and disappeared. And when he did that to me, I had this sense of being used. I had this feeling that, man, like this guy actually didn't want my company. He didn't actually want the food I was able to provide for him. He wanted something else. And in that midst, in that moment, I realized something else. I realized that we do the same thing to Jesus all the time. And Jesus, he wasn't stupid about it when he was on this earth. He knew that we do this kind of stuff. He knew that you and I as humans, we go to him time after time after time because we need something or because we want something. And one of the places that I find Jesus kind of just addressing this is John chapter 1. John chapter 1, and I'm going to be looking at verse 38. And this is actually titled the area in the Bible where Jesus calls his disciples. And there's to set the scene a little bit with you. John is standing with two of his disciples, and they're just kind of hanging out, and Jesus walks by them. And it says here in the text, the two disciples heard him say this, and they followed Jesus. Jesus turned and saw them following and said to them, "What are you seeking?" Jesus noticed as he was walking that these two random guys began to follow him. And Jesus was quick to ask the question, "What are you seeking? What do you want? What is the thing that you need in this moment?" Jesus wasn't going to let them lead him on. Jesus wasn't going to let them try and play him or play games with him. He wasn't going to have them buy him a sub sandwich, right? When they really wanted a cigarette. Jesus wanted to know, what do you guys really need? And the question that Jesus asked those guys that day, I think Jesus is asking us that same question today. What are we seeking? What are we seeking in our lives? What do we really want in our lives? You know, life is full of distractions. It's full of things constantly fighting for our attention. All of you have one of these, a cell phone. And these phones, they just take up so much of our time because we can look endlessly at nothing. But there's so many things in our viewpoint, so many things that can get in the way. What are you seeking today? What is it you really want? You know, Pastor Ben asked me the question before I agreed to do this talk, and he asked me, how am I staying close to Jesus during COVID-19? And I have to admit, it's really hard. I mentioned a few minutes ago that there will always be another thing. But the thing I've had to come to realize is that I will ultimately in my life always seek out the things that I really want. And you know what? Some days I don't seek out Jesus. Some days I don't want Jesus as much as I should. And I've come to learn that when those moments hit, the solution is not to beat myself up. The solution is not to run away from Jesus. It is not to put my Bible on the shelf. The solution is actually to jump into my Bible. The solution is to actually get on my knees and pray. And the solution is to actually seek Jesus. My favorite verse in the Bible, it's Jeremiah 29, verse 13, and it says this: "You will search for me, and you will find me when you search for me with all of your heart." What are you seeking today? What is it that you want? If Jesus was with you right now, and if he was asking you the same questions he asked those two disciples, what would he be looking at in your life? What would be the thing that you would respond to him with? What are you seeking? That is the greatest question we all can ask. And my prayer is that in all of our lives, we will start seeking Jesus in every moment. We'll seek him when we want to. We'll seek him when we don't want to. We'll seek him when we're on a high or when we're on a low. We'll seek him when the night is long or when the day is short. We will make our lives all about seeking Jesus. And COVID-19 can really feel like a problem. It can really feel like an exile. We can feel like we're in this season and it's never going to end. But a quote that I've really appreciated lately by Eugene Peterson says this: "Exile reveals what truly matters, and what truly matters is that we seek Jesus with all of our hearts." What are you seeking today? Are you seeking approval? Are you seeking friendship? Are you seeking pleasure? Are you seeking material possessions? Whatever we're seeking that isn't Jesus ultimately is a distraction. My prayer is that as we lean into Jesus and seek him, not out of duty, not out of because we have to, but because he's cultivated desire in us, as we do that, my prayer is that each and every one of us will cling to the promise that Jesus makes when he says this: "I have come that you may have life and life more abundant." He is where true life is found. He is where abundant life is found. And he is the thing that you've always been looking for in all of your searching and in all of your seeking. Jesus is the answer. May you seek him today. Thank you.